Good evening and welcome to the October 15th, 2024 Board of Select Persons meeting. Please join us in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I look for a motion to accept the warrants.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Actually, can you accept last week's first, please?
I look for a motion to accept last week's warrants.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion to accept this week's warrants.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Will someone read the announcements? Look for a motion to approve the October 7th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Would someone please read the announcements?
The Town of Limerick public notice for site walk, minor subdivision. The planning board will be conducting a site walk on Wednesday, October 16th, 2024 at 5 p.m. The site walk has been scheduled in conjunction with the proposed application for a 6-unit major subdivision for owner John Medici, subdivision entitled Cottages at Carroll Beach, 110 Carroll Lane, Limerick, Maine, on map 23, lot 19H. The public is welcome to attend. Aaron Carroll, Chairman, Limerick Planning Board. Also, the Town of Limerick notice of public hearing, major subdivision. The Limerick Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 16, 2024, for Cottage at Carroll Beach subdivision, a 6-unit major subdivision. Hearing to be held 7 p.m. at the Limerick Municipal Building, 55 Washington Street, Limerick, first floor media room, to receive information in conjunction with the proposed application for a major subdivision for owner John Medici, subdivision entitled Cottages at Carroll Beach, 110 Carroll Lane, Limerick, Maine, map 23, lot 19H. All interested citizens, please plan to attend. Aaron Carroll, Chairman, Limerick Planning Board. The Budget Committee will meet on Thursday, October 17th at 7 p.m. The templates will be discussed, Road Commissioner and EMA Director. Touch a Truck will be happening at Carroll Materials on Saturday, October 19th from 10 to 2 p.m. All are invited to attend. The Select Board will meet on Monday, October 21st at 6 p.m. and then we'll meet briefly at the fire station with the plowing contractor. The meeting will resume at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building. The Select Board will not meet on Monday, November 4th, due to voting on Tuesday, November 5th. The polls will be open at the Municipal Building from 8 to 8 p.m. Absentee ballots are available. The Town Clerk and Tax Collector's Office will be closed on Monday, November 4th for voter setup. The Limerick Water District will be holding a public hearing on Friday, November 15th at 7 p.m. for the proposed rate increase. The public is urged to attend. The information is available with the Town Clerk. The Appeals Board has 2 vacant seats to fill. Please reach out to the Select Board admin if interested at 793-4475. As a reminder, if you are speaking at a meeting, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. And as part of the hearing of citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public, will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the Chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public hearing, and please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org.
Thank you. For department reports, Joanne.
The planning board secretary, and the address for the cottages at Carroll's Beach is 146 A, B, C, and D.
A through F.
Yeah,
A through F.
A through F. Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. And I just got word from Atlantic. They have scheduled our compactor to be installed on the 30th, and that's a Wednesday, so I'd like your approval for us not to open that day. It's going to be there'll be people, trucks and everything in and out. I think they've asked that if that's possible, they'd like to have the facility closed.
I think that's fair, and we can get, we have enough time to get some notice out about that to the residents, so.
Yeah, and I'm going over with Alicia. We got a new contract for our recycling, which is up in January, and EcoMaine sent us a renewal, a 5-year renewal, so I'm going over that with Alicia, and I think probably the only changes, I'm sure, is that they've gone up. So, that's it.
Thank you. And we have Stan, the Special Assessing Liaison to the Select Board, and CEO, and Constable.
I don't wear a hat because there's too many to choose from. Stan Hackett, Code Enforcement. On Code Enforcement, we're sitting at permits right now, almost at 96,000. That's just building permits. The only thing that I had is I wanted to revisit the 4-way stop signs at Pickerel Pond, Emery Corner Road, Quarry Road. I'd like the board to hopefully vote and approve to install the 4-way stop signs at that intersection. There was some conversation that you might have already voted on it, but I wasn't aware of it. So I don't know if the board would be willing to vote yay or nay for the 4-way stop sign.
Would the vote be to install them or pay to, do we have a price on those yet?
It's $1,500 a piece.
Okay.
So it's $6,000. And the road commissioner said that he could install them. So I don't know where the board, if you want to do any more investigation on it, or, but DOT is giving the town a better price at $1,500 a piece, and they're solar operated, so they're not.
And was Carroll Materials, were they, I know they use that road a lot, so I didn't know if they were willing to.
Carroll Materials is still waiting word from their corporate office. They want to donate $1,500 towards the purchase of the stop signs.
Does the road commissioner have the rest in his budget?
He didn't say it, and I spoke to him today. But, he did give me an update on some of the roads. They are going to be temperature allowing. They're going to pave Park Street, Locust Street. They need a little bit warmer weather, so hopefully next week that will be ready. And then they're waiting on Range E Road because that's going to be reclaimed, rebedded, and then paved. So hopefully that they'll get those done.
With Park Street, Dunkin' Donuts is paying for a portion of that, correct?
Part of that is out of their sidewalk fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We need to,
Figure out.
somebody needs to get in touch with Carroll Materials and let them know that we, although they are a great corporate citizen, they've done a lot for the town, we give them a lot of leeway on our paving. And if this stuff doesn't happen this year, this will now be the second time in 33 years that we've been thrown to the back of the list
And then things haven't been done.
and stuff doesn't get paved. So if they come to us and say, so sorry, this is too late, then we need to rethink the deference we give them in awarding them the paving and, dealing with them. We treat them pretty well because they treat us pretty well, but throwing us to the back burner possibly 2 out of 3 years is not treating us very well. So someone needs to let them know that the stuff they've promised to do has to get done this year.
If the board would like, I can address that tomorrow with them. I don't mind, and I can give you an email update.
Thank you. And I'm happy to call them too, but if you're in touch with them, go ahead.
But I talk to several of them at least once a week, so I don't mind having a conversation.
I think we should find out if the stop sign money would be in the road commissioner's budget before we were to make it a decision, or we can make a decision on contingent. I just don't know where the money would come from this year. That'd probably be something we'd have to budget for if it's not in the road commissioner budget.
I can find that out and report to you next week. I just want to keep it to the surface because there's been a lot of concern about it. And,
Yeah.
right. On that, I'm going to let Casey go over the tax acquired properties with you. She's got a lot of interesting news. Casey?
Thank you for having me again. I've made just a quick summary, and to start, I just wanted to revisit all of the properties that we've had listed that are under contract, just to bring you up to speed on each of those transactions. So just to start, map 39, lot 105, Dog Road. We had granted an extension to the buyer last week. On that meeting, that buyer was talking to an attorney, and I have they're due for a follow-up. I haven't received any updates. Map 41, lot 340, Edge Hill Road. They've turned in all of their things, and closing is scheduled for the 31st. Map 38, lot 8 on Fisher Drive. They're just finishing their title, and they should be prepared to close on October 24th. And that's the same for lot 9 on Fisher Drive. They're actually the same buyer. Section 12 Range E Road, we granted an extension to their closing date last week. The buyers are pursuing the former owners for a release deed so that they can get title insurance. I provided them with the information that the town had about the previous owner and where they're located. Map 41, lot 232 in Arrowhead has turned in their earnest money and proof of funds, and they're in with their title company to prepare for closing. Properties that are actively on the market with no offers. Several of these are ones that we listed last week with the disclosure that the town attorney made for us for the tax acquired property. Map 41, lot 231 on Arrowhead Lane, listed for $20,000. I say I had one call, but I actually had calls from about a half dozen different potential buyers on these, and most of those buyers were calling on, like, all of them or 2 or 3 at a time. The same with the other, map 41, lot 290, which is a double lot at $25,000. So we received calls but no offers. Map 40, lot 20 on Sportsman I received a couple of calls from that, and they were actually talking about both Sportsman's lots. And map 40, lot 8, which was previously listed but discovered to be more of a tax acquired property than a town owned property, was relisted at $20,000 and no offers on that. We listed 62 Washington Street last week. Since the second it hit the market, I've been receiving calls on it hourly and more than hourly. The average call on this property, there's one group that are asking for showings, which we cannot show the property. Another group that doesn't understand what tax acquired property really means. And I expected actually more than one offer, but I only received one offer on the property. So we think it's going to lead to some choices by the board. The offer that we did receive, this buyer seemed very well aware of what the situation was. They did talk to legal counsel before making an offer to make sure that they understood what they were getting into. And I felt like they were well educated when they made their offer. The price they offered was $60,000 with an escalation clause to $90,500, $500 over the next closest offer. Where there is no other offer, I think that's why this leads to a choice. The deposit they offered was $3,000. There was no inspection contingencies. It's a cash offer with proof of funds provided within 2 days and a closing of November 1st. I think the choices are to counter offer. And in counter offering, I think it demonstrates the town is really trying to get the most that they can get, where the offered price is substantially lower than the asking price, but also that the buyer has disclosed by their escalation clause that they perhaps have a willingness to pay more. The risk to doing this is actually demonstrated by lots 4 and 5 on Fisher, which we counter offered that buyer in the same scenario last week, and they declined our counter offer. The other option is to accept it at the $60,000 mark, or you could just not respond, but I think engaging the buyer is more important than just not engaging them, because you have someone ready, willing, and able to purchase the property now. So I think what I'm looking for is a vote. Does the board want to counter offer or accept the offer? And if it's counter offered, I would suggest a counter offer of $75,000, meeting in the middle.
I'll make a motion to accept the offer of $60,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. Map 39, lot 106 on Dog Road. The offer price is $65,000. The deposit of $600. This is not subject to any inspections, but it is subject to the buyer obtaining a HELOC on his personal residence to get the cash to purchase the property, with a closing date of December 13th. The longer closing date obviously accommodating that time for lending. The buyer made an application for this loan 2 to 3 weeks ago, and they have not been through the appraisal on their house for the home equity line. So the risk to accepting the offer is that perhaps if the house did not appraise for enough money, he may not be able to follow through with all of the funds. I do know that this buyer is personally familiar with the quiet title process and is fully prepared to take that on himself after he has purchased the property. I would suggest accepting this offer, just knowing that if for some reason he had an appraisal problem, we may come back on the market. But this is in the higher range of the offers that we've received on this property. And I know that this buyer has been fully educated on what it takes to buy it.
And that's for lot 106, right?
106, yeah, there was a
Okay.
typo in my email. Map 38, lots 4 and 5. We are currently priced at $60,000. These are the combined lots. We actually received as many calls on the single property as we did the others combined. The average buyer called asking if they could divide it, and I just said that they were combined for the reasons that they are. The offer for this buyer is $30,000 with a $500 earnest money deposit. The paragraph where it talks about the town correcting any title issues was actually not struck from this agreement. And I do have a full instruction sheet on how to do these for all buyer agents posted in the listings. And that would need to be struck to move forward with them. This was also subject to receiving a copy of the survey. In the property disclosure, we checked that it has been surveyed because all of Lake Arrowhead has surveys in the registry. This also was subject to an additional 2% buyer agency fee. We are offering 3%, and the way the commission split is set up is 6% split 50-50 between the listing broker and the buyer agent. This is a cash offer and proof of funds provided within 1 day with a closing date of October 31st. I would recommend that the board reject this offer. We've had offers that were higher and offers that were higher on a single lots. These lots have no tax acquired status so that they can be bought with title insurance and under normal financing conditions. I also know that the buyer from last week is still kind of circling around, so I'd be hesitant to accept something so much lower without
What was our asking price on that?
60,000.
And on Dog Road, the asking price was
We're at 80,000.
80,000, okay.
I make a motion to accept the offer for map 39, lot 105,
106.
106,
105 is already under
Sorry.
contract.
sorry, 106, with the contingency that they provide proof that their HELOC is approved by November 15th.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
And then for 38, lots 4 and 5, look for a motion on what we want to do with that. Which we received a recommendation of denying the offer, so.
I make a motion to deny the offer for map 38, lots 4 and 5.
I will second that. Am I allowed to second it?
Yeah.
First time doing this. All right, all those in favor of denying? Any discussion, sorry?
I would have, I guess, if this motion fails, I'd recommend a counter offer of 45,000 and no additional buyer agent fee. But I guess they can always come back and offer more.
You didn't take 45 last week.
This is a different buyer than last week.
I know, I'm just,
But we didn't take the 45 last week, that's 100% correct. And that buyer is still around.
Steve?
Steve McLean, would it be in the best interest of the town to break the 2 lots up, or we've had a lot of interest in the 2 lots? I know we're trying to, but I mean, you know, we've had several people interested in the price of the lots, and that might be in the best interest of the town. We didn't accept 45 last week, we shouldn't accept 45 this week. Maybe we break them up and
I think the idea behind it, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we combined them so there wasn't, you know, a house on every single lot.
I fully understand that, okay, but that's really up to the planning board. That should be something that'll come up in March. I'm just saying, you've had interest in buyers asking about if they could divide it, okay, well, tell them 30,000 each lot, and that's 60,000 for the town. I don't see how you can sit up here and counteroffer for 45 this week when you rejected it last week, so.
I believe that if it went for 45,000, we maybe have better luck with the buyer that offered last week. And I'd be happy to call them and reach out about that. It may be recommended to just reduce the price to 50,000 before accepting so much lower of an offer. So if there was an action to take, potentially just a price reduction to 50,000.
All those in favor for denying the offer?
So I guess the next question is, would you like me to prepare a reduction to 50,000?
We've had it listed at 60 for 2 weeks.
3, I think.
3, I think a reduction to 50 would be feasible.
You want to vote and I'll send you the paperwork?
I look for a motion to reduct the price to map 38, lots 4 and 5 to 50,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
You really shouldn't, acting as chair, make a motion. But why not let Wade make it, I'll second it. I mean, it's,
I meant to say I look for a motion, sorry. I look for a motion to, I'll let you guys make the motion. Yeah, look for a motion to reduce the asking price from 60 to 50 on map 38, lots 4 and 5.
Okay.
I have new listings that are tax acquired and ready to sell.
we should get to this one, because Wade, you made the motion.
I didn't make the motion, he made the motion again. I make a motion.
I look for a motion.
So moved.
I will second it,
All those in favor?
to reduce that one
Great job.
to 50,000.
First time for everything for me.
So for new lots, I have map 42, lot 230 on Hill Road, and map 42, lot 131, also on Nob Hill Road. They're across the street from each other. These are double lots. As tax acquired, I would recommend a listing price of $25,000. I have also map 17, lot 3, which is also known as 140 Parsons Field Road. This is also a tax acquired property under the new notice system. This property consists of a couple of acres. It's like 3 acres. I think actually 3.5. It's got a little bit of a steep downhill slope, and it's 2 lots that are combined. There's a tremendous amount of trash on this property, including a couple of campers, all sorts of paraphernalia, lots of stuff. I'm not sure how it'll shake out, but I recommend a price of $40,000. I also have map 42, lot 272 on King Hill Road. This is actually a quadruple lot consisting of almost 2 acres. 3/4 of the lot is so steep it's not buildable. So essentially you have maybe 1 lot's worth of building area on this lot. I would recommend a price of $25,000 for this property. Taking into the account that it's a lot more acreage than a lot of the other lots, but the quality of the acreage isn't very good. The last one I have is an old tax acquired property, map 12 on Quarry Road. This property consists of about 1.5 acres, but the lot is only about 40 feet wide according to the tax map. It's all road frontage. I have spoken to the abutter who is interested in purchasing it. I would recommend an asking price of $10,000. I feel that the abutter is the most likely purchaser of this property as it has the most value to them. I have a map right here too if you'd like to see.
So it's 45 feet deep.
45 feet deep.
It's very long.
And but it's very, very long, and it's all road frontage. But at 45 feet, it's not wide enough to really do anything with, because it wouldn't meet setbacks.
Steve?
really stand? Is that a buildable lot? Can they put a small house on that, or? Tiny home, all right, so I'm just saying before we make a difference on something.
What's the front setback in that district?
Because that'd make a difference. Somebody can have a small house.
I don't think there's any room with the setbacks. Is there an exception for a lot like that?
If there was anything with setbacks and they couldn't meet the setbacks, then they would have to go to the appeals board for variance on setbacks. The other criteria is it would have to be able to accept a subsurface system, and possibly a tiny home would fit on the lot. It's a basically small lot, because you're supposed to have 15 feet from the road and 20 feet in the back. So there's 35 feet.
And it's 45, I think, at its widest point.
Well, it's 45, but it's almost, I mean, if this map is accurate, I know these aren't perfect.
Yeah.
It's 45 in the front, but it almost, if you go down to where, on that map where it says lot 4, 1.6 acres, it almost doubles in width. If that goes to 90 feet,
Maybe it does.
then you would build a house and you have plenty of room for a long, narrow, I mean, I think that's, I mean, I know it's not a perfect system, but if you take that measurement of 45 and you move that further along, you get more than twice that at that 1.6 mark. So that might, if that proves to be 90 feet, and you need 35,
Game changer for the lot.
if you need 35 feet, 25 and 10, well, that leaves you 55 feet. That's if you're building a house that's 24 deep, that builds a nice house.
Yeah. And Mike O'Donnell did say that the lot is worth about 10,000 or less. It's not worth a whole lot on as far as assessing. So,
Is this a piece of property part of the meadow across the street?
No.
It's a separate piece of property,
Yes.
but it is directly across from 22 acres of water and et cetera that feeds into, and the road is close to the water's edge. I really believe the town should retain this. Maybe that road should be set over into that property, okay? Or if this land, this meadow goes to wildlife, where is he? Inland Fisheries and Wildlife or some organization like that, this land could be used for parking. So people could maybe kayak in that meadow or bird watch in that meadow, and there'd be parking available for it. Okay, you shouldn't just give away every square inch of land we have for houses, especially close to waterways. It's part of the water that feeds into the town water. So either salt going into it or people's whatever going into it should be taken into consideration. It's just a tiny strip of land that maybe you can put one house on. Come on, guys. Thank you.
Sounds like this one needs more investigation. Can we table it?
Yeah.
so the thing is if the town decided to keep it or not sell it, the town would have to have it appraised by a licensed, state of Maine licensed appraiser, and the town would have to purchase the property. So that's the other side of the coin. And then any proceeds go to the former owner, the heirs, or to the unclaimed properties. If we're unable to sell it, the other stipulation is then we'd have to turn it over to the new division in the state of Maine of redevelopment. So, and that's what Northern Maine's going to at this point. So, it doesn't give us a whole lot of choices. I have contacted Inland Wildlife and a couple other conservation groups. One is Francis Small for the 22 acres, 15 acres is wetlands, and 7 acres is considered buildable, but it's 22 acres in total. So, and I haven't heard anything back from either one yet.
What if we, I mean, based on some of these other prices, we put it out at $25,000, and if somebody thinks they can make it work, or a better comes in and makes us an offer,
Just test the market.
just see what happens. I mean, if we're
I'm all up
being
for
forced to kind of sell these.
experimentation. I think that's what we're doing here. Do we want to vote? I think let's, on the other ones, other than the Quarry Road, to accept the listing agreements as they are. So map 42, lot 272, map 17, lot 3, map 42, lot 230, and map 42, lot 131.
I would look for a motion to list those lots at the asking prices recommended by our realtor.
So move. Don't ask me to repeat them because I didn't write them down.
I'll second it, but I want to look at them here for a minute.
I have a highlighted map if it's helpful.
So these ones that are grouped together, like 272,
Yeah.
there was 4 lots.
Yes.
So somebody must have bought that maybe at auction at some, I mean, how did they get grouped together?
Hold on, I'll look in the file. See if there's any clues.
That's the one that's 2 lots of no buildable.
So this was actually sold as a tax-acquired property previously. And this was sold to an individual who purchased map 42, lot 272, 273, 274, and 275. And sold with the conditions that it come with the Lake Arrowhead, but also the conditions that it only support one single-family home, which I think is something that was common in the past, because I've seen quite a few of these in Lake Arrowhead. So this person purchased this as tax-acquired property previously.
Once before.
Yeah, the last owner.
Can you read the maps again? Was there 5 that you're going to list? Or 4?
4 and a possible 5th.
Okay, well, I thought you just said to go all out on,
Go on.
do the 5th one.
Well, that's a recommendation.
I just don't think she said it, that's why.
She listed 4, and then that was the 5th one.
That she didn't list, so that's why I'm like, are you voting to do it or not do it?
So I think I understand what you're saying, is do we want to vote?
Yeah, I just don't know if
forward
they're
with the-
adding it, yeah, to go with.
We want to move forward with the Quarry Road at the $25,000?
I just want to make sure that they're voting
Yes,
on them all or not.
good catch.
Or if you are holding off on that one.
Yeah, so I guess, do we want to table Quarry Road, or do we want to list it for a higher price to see what happens?
You made the motion, so confirm whether you want the 5th one on there.
I make a motion to add the Lot 4 on the Quarry Road for $25,000.
I
Okay.
second it. So that's all 5.
Perfect.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Right?
Do you have any other questions on any individual property?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
So while we're on the tax acquired properties, last week we were also able to contact one of the heirs of a tax acquired property, and she and her husband purchased it back. So we were able to recover another property and have another property owner take back their property. So we are making, I want everybody to understand that we are making every effort to get the original owners or the heirs to be able to retain the properties that they had originally. So that was another one.
Have we closed any yet and received any payments?
Yes, we closed lot
Last week.
96 on Long Street last week, which I think is not 30.
3996. Yeah.
And we recovered 30.
It was for 30,000, for 35,000. Yeah,
And has Julie received that check?
yes.
Yes, and we also recovered earnest money from the last buyer on lot 106,
Which was about $1,000.
$1,000.
I thought I had sent you an email. Again, sometimes these emails don't work, but I will resend it to the board so you're aware of what we're at. We're in the process of now doing, if there's any proceeds, and calculating that on that lot.
We have to check, I think all of that needs, all of that money, we need to make sure she's putting in the capital reserve account, because I believe that's where it all goes. Isn't that in one of those housekeeping articles that we vote on? I guess we don't need to look at it now, we can just make sure that it's going where it's supposed to.
Capital Project Reserve account. It's N.
Yeah, it's right there. Authorize the select board to sell and dispose of town-owned lots with or without buildings with terms and conditions that are in the best interest of the town, apply those proceeds to the capital project reserve account after all taxes and costs have been paid on each parcel. So any of that money that comes in has got to go to the capital project reserve account.
I'll talk to her tomorrow.
She needs to make sure she's tracking those.
Okay. We will do that.
Thank you. All right, on to old business. We
Are you
just,
signing Casey's papers
I think
tonight?
they're on, aren't they?
Do you have new
Good
ones?
morning.
Do you have new ones or just this one?
Well, I'm not sure what you said.
It didn't come back this way.
I think that one we had from last week.
If you have others, after looking through them, just throw them at us.
Yeah.
And I think I got this a week last week, so I'm all set on that. And I'm gonna throw somewhere now. Let me. You want me to do paper now?
yeah, just so we don't keep you.
All right, we'll keep it.
Okay. Review of the legal accounts, there was nothing on this week's warrant. Cemetery mowing, Veterans and Cemetery Committee, there's nothing new on that. The Brick Town Hall camera equipment update installation is on October 29th, 30th, and 31st. Shelter survey, we have to discuss the mutual aid agreement and sign it. Also review draft for shelter survey. We have some forms to review this week and discuss it when Katie is back at the next meeting we have. So a little bit of homework for us. Is there anything new on the squad truck bid, John?
No, so we're setting up the account on that Gov Deals. I have to check with Julie. To set up the account, you have to give them the checking account number and all that. They make a deposit of like 2 cents
To verify.
to verify. I gotta check with her to see if those have come through. Once they do, then we can list the truck on there. Perfect.
Update Microsoft Exchange email. This is gonna happen in December. Trio training and payroll. We have a schedule. 11, so November 7th at 10 a.m., the Trio web training with Brandon Harris, computer. November 20th at 5 p.m., we will gather data and process the go live with Will Coffin of Harris Computer. And on November 21st at 9 a.m., post go live support with the Trio PS team. So there is a timeline for that. Work on new capital project requests, town manager template. Alicia is going to work with Katie tomorrow on these. Motion to sign the Charter Commission final report and charter. If I recall, did we make a motion last week to
Motion to
approve it?
approve it. We haven't signed it, so chatted with Dave. I'm gonna have you sign both copies. You have the charter and the final draft, so then we can give copies to the town clerk to be attested.
Perfect. So I would look for a motion to sign the Charter Commission final report and the charter, so the town clerk can attest to it.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? We already did go over the update on the four-way blinking signs.
Scott does think that he has the money, but he's gonna double check,
Okay,
so.
so hopefully we can get an answer for next week.
Yep.
Adding Staples Road to the winter maintenance contract. Kind of just wondering if we wanted to add that. Last week, we were notified that there's a new dwelling on the property, or on the road, so how does the board feel about?
Staples Hill Road, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I think the planning contract is going to get together with the road commissioner. Is there, I mean, they can't, they need a turnaround. How far up they're going to plow, where they're going to, how far, they'll have to get together and see if it's even feasible. And the road isn't in great shape. So,
Stan, is it something that the Leamington can do if we make a deal? Like from their end, is it easier? Could they go that far? I know we have that on another road.
Leamington right now plows to the end of the pavement, which is just on this side of Limerick. So I don't think them going another 20 or 30 feet would be a problem with them doing that. The only problem is we need to understand that we can't
Get to
enter from the Limerick side at this point, which the fire department knows.
is the house on the paved section?
It's just beyond the paved section. So, and Leamington does turn around right about where that driveway is, so I don't see why Leamington wouldn't do it. I can call the road commissioner and see if they wouldn't go another 20 feet.
20 feet.
Makes sense?
So yeah, if you would be willing to reach out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is all I have for old business. For new business, we'd look for a motion to approve and sign the municipal deed. I'm just going to look it over and then I can...
Make a motion to say, sign the municipal release deed for book 2597, page 77, map 41, lot 227.
And that's for the person who
That's
purchased the
the
property back.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Discuss celebration next year of the semi-quincennial of the town. Centennial? Yeah, I can't say that. Have a note here that the research committee wants to know the town's plan. I think that would possibly be a good time to open, I think the time capsule is...
Yes, that
The
is.
time capsule is something that is due to be open next year. That is at Tibbetts Memorial Park. Do we have any plans right now for that?
Why don't we ask the rec director, maybe to get together with the Research Club and the Historical Society, and see if they all want to work in conjunction with putting something together?
And if they would need like a budget for that, we'd kind of have to know the price.
We can ask the rec director to throw a few bucks into his budget for that, and see if they can all pull that together.
Alicia, would you want to reach out? Thank you. That is all I have for new business. Any hearing of citizens? Steve?
On the, tomorrow night's planning board meeting, how come the tax map doesn't show that new lot yet? I mean, we're advertising it. I don't think it's on O'Donnell's if you look it up. Is it H or something? I talked to Stan, and it never got on O'Donnell's, but was that just recently done? Or not up there?
I thought it was on the online one.
Well,
It's not on the online one?
computer it's not, if you're asking.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, because they're advertising this, it would be nice if people knew it, if they were looking at it, to see what it was.
That went by the application, main boundary consultants,
Well, that part's fine, I'm saying,
Mhm.
if it made it onto O'Donnell's for on the tax map as another lot.
Well, someone would have given it 19H, because
The printed maps, there was an error with them, so they were printing them, but the online one should be correct.
I tried, yeah, I'm saying, it doesn't show up on that printed one, but that's fine. Okay. Right, no, I'm just saying, it's in the paper, so you go to look it up, and you don't see the lot. Okay. Was it a new lot this year or last year, or?
As soon as we get him the deed, we will update the online one,
Okay.
and then we will get a new printed page.
somebody got it because
No, I'm just saying,
we had a tax bill for it.
there you go.
Got to make sure you're billed.
Here we go.
Yeah, that part's all set, I'm just saying, it doesn't show up on the, hasn't caught up yet, okay, so that's what it is. The other thing is, has anybody talked about patching the manholes up here? So I think that was a month ago.
I think we did get an email back. I don't know, Stan, if you want to talk to this. I know you reached out to DOT about the manholes on Washington Street. I'll let Stan give you the update.
Okay. The main holes are owned by the town or the water and sewer district, so it's under their guidance for maintenance. The water and sewer district, when I spoke to Aaron and Tony, they did say that when they contracted it out, that there was a few of them that weren't done correctly. They're not on the schedule to be maintained or corrected this year, but they are looking at a future date to get them fixed.
So, while you're still standing, should we ask the road commissioner to put coal patch for the winter? That's what we've done in the past. Frank Carroll always did it. Okay, but then it gets chewed up over the winter, but, I mean, you spoke a month ago saying there's two of them that are really bad. I mean, two of them that'll bounce you around, you know, so at what point? Just put some coal patch in the things.
Was this the same email that DOT said that it wouldn't be a hazard? That they don't, am I thinking of the same road?
Or Maine State Police?
Maine State, somebody said that it's not big enough of a
The
hazard.
MSP, or Maine State Police, and Maine DOT said that they didn't feel that they were a hazard.
Yeah.
Putting a little cold patch on them wouldn't hurt either. I've seen that done, and I'm sure that Scott could do that, but Maine DOT will not do it because they don't own them, so, but it would be up to the town.
Just like the blinking light, right?
Yep, I can ask the road commissioner to put some cold patch on it temporarily for this year.
Yeah, and hopefully the water district will raise it.
Yep.
Stan, can I ask you another question real quick? Last week you talked about Wynn Griffith Road. Is it Wynn Griffith?
Yeah, Wynn Griffith Road.
About there being is there a new house or something on that road too? Was it that about plowing, or was it maintenance of the road that?
Well, the town stopped plowing. It's closed to winter maintenance, but they always plowed up to Wynn Griffith's house.
Okay.
So now there is a new home where Wynn Griffith was, and there was actually another dwelling just beyond that. So,
So does it need to be extended, like the plowing then?
I think for this year, we just need to plow to Wynn Griffiths again. If you go beyond that, a culvert has started to deteriorate and it needs to be replaced. And I'm not sure if it's in the road budget this year. I gotta check with Scott on
All
that.
right, but so we don't need to put it into the plowing contract?
Right, it's about another 1,000 feet
Okay.
to plow on Wynn Griffith. And they can turn around where that second dwelling was.
Okay.
So that's just before that culvert. But I wouldn't drive any heavy equipment over that culvert the way it is at this point. You'll sink.
Thanks. The other thing is, last week, we were talking about Mellon with their contract, and Joanne, you're here. When I look back through the budget things there, we have another 30 or 35,000 that's spent on hauling dumpsters. Is that part of Mellon's new contract, or is that a separate contract, or is that just different containers or something?
Yes, it's different containers, and close.
Okay, all right. Okay, that doesn't go out to bid every 2 or 3 years? All right, and back to that stop sign with Scotty there, you know, wasn't in the budget, and the $6,000, I know he said he could maybe find it, but if he finds it, he's cutting something else out. So we have to wonder, you know, isn't there some money designated or something for those stop signs? You know, the road budget wasn't including $6,000 for those type of stop signs, you know what I mean? Maybe there is some money left over, but usually it's pretty well budgeted out, the road commissioner, what he's doing, and, you know, we don't want to take it away from brush removal, we don't want to take it away from sand removal. I think it's something to look into to see what it is he's got for extra. The last thing is, I guess over the weekend there, that down at the Pepper Mill restaurant there, they canceled karaoke. I think we gotta work some kinks out in town. instead of going down, shutting it down that night, I think we should have went in and said, hey, listen, you don't have a license or you don't have whatever, and let's get this all back in line, okay? We all know it's prevalent that sprinkler system's not on, which is not our control, it's the water district between him and Mr. Harrisburg. But another step, it seems, that we're just not business friendly, okay?
Did somebody go down and shut them down?
Yeah.
Did they get shut down, Stan? Okay.
Well, for that night they did.
Who shut them down?
Okay. So on Friday, the Chief Pelletier and I visited the businesses at the mill. The restaurant, they were informed that, again, there is no fire protection at this point with the sprinkler system. Chief Pelletier did apprise them that they needed an entertainment license for the karaoke. The owner, Stephanie, wasn't there, so the manager that was there may have relayed that message to her that they couldn't do karaoke, but that isn't what Chief had said. They do need an entertainment license. When Sue owned the restaurant and I had first started as code enforcement in 2021, I told her as long as she had applied online for it, that would cover her until she actually received her license from the fire marshal's office. So, but the entertainment license is under the fire marshal's guidance.
So it's a fire marshal thing, not one of our ordinances?
So as far as I know, and I've asked Dee Dee to get a hold of Stephanie and just tell her to go online and apply for that license, and then she'll be able to continue doing the karaoke. So I think that was part of a little misunderstanding there, but Stephanie didn't want to get in trouble with the fire marshal's office, so.
Also, I can add 2 cents. When the Pepper Mills license was renewed in August with Susan, we added in that she had to have the entertainment license. But then in January, it didn't get reinstated the same way, I think, when the new owner reapplied.
Right, it's just like when this lady bought it, she had to get a liquor license in her
Yeah,
name.
we just didn't add in the same thing.
My point is, being more business friendly, would have been saying, hey, listen, did you apply for that license? Did you forget?
Well, I think they chose to, I think that was how it went, but I think they chose not to.
Evidently, everyone that I've talked on this call said that they didn't have it Friday night karaoke, so they can't.
No, I don't think they had it, but I think that they had the choice.
They canceled it.
Yeah,
because
well,
of that. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, it would have been a, thing, saying, probably the lady forgot that she had to switch it over from what Sue had. That's what I'm saying, instead of.
Do we require a permit for karaoke from the town?
An entertainment license. Supposed to have an entertainment license.
So is it a
From the
marshal?
fire marshal. We added it into the old owners, so.
That's for entertainment, John's kind of saying
No,
that.
I'm reading from the law firm of Google and Google,
when,
and they say Maine does not require a special amusement permit in Maine for karaoke.
Okay.
However, municipal or county commissioners may require a permit for music, dancing, or entertainment at a licensed premises. So,
They do have music there, that's why, the karaoke does not require the entertainment license. But they do have live bands and music, that does. If somebody gets up and just shakes their butt, they're dancing and then they're in trouble without that license. So that's it, and that's where the misinformation was. Karaoke doesn't require it unless they get up and dance. If they dance, it will require the entertainment license.
That's fine. I'm just saying, it just seems that, there again, we sometimes make things difficult, and I think Stan's got a handle on it now, would have had a lady get that, but it was just too bad it came to that point. The other reasonable would have said, hey, listen, next week, see if you can get your license, and leave it at that. Motion to adjourn.
Not yet. I don't know, I feel that if someone's in violation, we should act upon it, and that's what we did. And I think there was a miscommunication where we didn't say you can't have karaoke. It was a miscommunication between the message who it was informed from
Yep.
to where
You know what?
it
I
got.
fully agree with you. So,
Yep.
you ought to sit up there on a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday night when you can, one lane of traffic on Main Street, all right? You got no parking on both sides. What have we done?
I think there's been a couple times, Stan, that as I drive by and I see vehicles in the no parking zone, I've reached out to Stan to let him know, and he comes out and issues tickets.
Every week, last Saturday, the cars were over the white line into the street on both sides, so we had one lane. So, I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah, I mean-
you want to enforce things, let's enforce everything. It just seems like there's rules for some and no rules for the others.
Maybe we should get a parking enforcement team.
There you go.
I think somebody just needs to paint white lines.
Well, that's the other.
Just paint white lines, nobody
People
would...
drive right, you look and watch, they drive right in, they look around, they look at the sign, they look outside and they park. I mean, it happens, it's constant. Maybe we need to hire, have we got any money in for parking tickets at all?
No.
No?
Well, we got $100 in, but that was from the first batch way back in the spring.
Maybe we pay somebody to park up there with a tow truck. With their lights flashing, and when somebody parks, they can position themselves in place, or, I don't know, I mean, until you start really coming down on them,
I mean, the other
I don't know what
thing
you can do,
is,
but-
you know, the problem is, we all can agree. You have to be 11 feet tall to see the signs. But that's a state regulation. So maybe we put something from the town, lower, no parking, you know, I don't know what the answer is. I'll put some cones out there on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Because eventually, if a truck comes by, we're gonna be in trouble. You know what I mean? And it's just, like I said, we shut one thing down, this goes
and
on.
another thing, no, if the fire chief or the code officer is going to shut something down, I'm not saying they did, I don't think they did, businesses should know that should be done in writing. It shouldn't be a message from a waiter to a manager to a owner or from a man. Those things, I assume if you're going to issue that type of shutdown, it'd be given in writing, so that the owner of the establishment knows clearly well what's going on.
Well, the other thing, furthermore to that is, there's businesses in there, all right? It should be the owner of the premises that gets notified.
No, because the owner of the premises doesn't have anything to do with the dancing license, whether they have a karaoke license or not. That's the owner of the,
There's a violation in his building, he should be notified.
not if it's related to that business. If it's related to the building,
It's related to the building,
I
yeah.
mean, if it's related to the business, then I don't believe so. If it's related to the building itself, then yes, the building owner should be notified.
Now you can have your motion. Oh, you want to?
Yeah, I just want to revisit with Steve. I did have 2 bids on hauling household waste compactor. I got a bid from Mellon, which was $250 if we need him to haul, and Herrick's bid was $205. So I've set it up with Herrick to continue hauling them.
I just have a question. On the sale of all the town-owned properties, how does that affect the Pickle Pond Island? Just asking.
Maybe we have to have an appraised, get an appraisal of $50 and buy it from ourselves. I don't know. Or it's not worth anything. If there is no value, how do you deal with that?
You have to have a state license appraiser say that there's no value.
So perhaps we're gonna, at some point, we'll have to have a list of properties that we're keeping, because there are some things we're gonna keep.
There are several properties that we're keeping. The islands are for one. There is also an agreement with Lake Arrowhead, certain islands and certain properties we're keeping, if you want to say, for recreational purposes. So those are being recorded, and we've owned most of those properties for 30 years or more. So we're trying to find out from the state how we do that, because to have it appraised, if it comes up with a value, the town would have to buy it again, and the town's already lost money on it, and that's how it acquired it. So we're trying to work with the state to resolve those few minor,
Michael O'Donnell should be able to make that determination for us, right?
but he works for the town, so he's disqualified. It has to be somebody that can't work for the town. That doesn't work for the town, not can't. So, but we're working on that. But for now, those properties, the other thing, keep in mind, right now, they haven't put any time periods on when to get rid of them. But it's just we're showing the intent that we do intend to sell the acquired properties. Anything that was deeded or gifted to the town can stay with the town. There's no questions about those. They really put this together, and I think I've had this conversation with several people. The state didn't really think this through very well, and there's a lot of speed bumps, if you will, getting through this. And when there's proceeds, there's another 9 yards of paperwork we got to do as well. So that's...
Well, they passed it, and then
They passed it.
Then the set the rules after they pass it, and agree.
They passed it and the governor signed it, so there we are. But it doesn't mean that I still don't have a voice up there, even though they don't like me, but.
Are you alluding to, like, the association buying that island and keeping it? Is that what you're talking about when you asked if they were gonna sell it, or?
I'm asking if, because it's tax acquired property, that was tax acquired. So because of that, does that mean it goes onto the chopping block?
No, I think the board voted to keep that.
But it's tax acquired, the state tells us now what we have to do with it.
Okay.
Nothing to do,
All right.
so it's no different than these other lots. So the determination, as Stan said, we have to determine the value is 0,
Yeah.
then we can just keep it.
Okay, well, that's what, I think that, yeah, all right. I didn't know if you were alluding that the association would like to purchase it, so no one would ever.
No, that would be a nightmare.
Okay, no, it's not, no.
It's hard enough for us to own it.
Yeah.
Who's gonna park themselves out there?
Gail?
At the Select Board's workshop, you mentioned that there was going to be some tree cutting, and someone was going to check to see about trimming the tree in front of the Moore Building. Did the tree get trimmed? No, this was in your workshop. In your workshop. I think Wade was...
Did we discuss the trees along this one? I don't
Somebody was
recall.
coming to trim some trees, and you said you would talk to this person about taking a few branches off this tree that's on the roof of the Moore Building.
No, I've
When
not.
did we have a workshop?
I
You
don't.
had a budget workshop.
I remember it's here, but I don't remember anything about the Moore Building.
Well,
But I do remember all the issues.
I
We
can-
can look into it and find out.
Thank you, because otherwise I'll just get the flick going. Okay. I have, I noticed that the Hollandville project has a negative balance. Capital projects don't have negative balances. If they do, we have to find a way to fund it. It went negative because the check that was received from the water district for the money they didn't use for the water meters If you remember, we gave them around 30 grand for water meters, and they said they would return any difference when they got done, and they did. It was around $6,000, $6,000 plus. It was posted so that it was taken away from the project, throwing it into a negative. I asked the treasurer about it, and she said that I had to get authority from you to get it changed and posted correctly. How do I go about that? Do you want something to sign, or?
So because of the transition between the old treasurer and the new treasurer, and we never really did an interim audit, we've asked the current auditor we've had for a while.
Yeah.
He's going to come in November
Yeah.
and do a lot of preliminary work for next year's to try to get, we always seem to be behind the 8 ball with them, and we're getting that out of him later and later and later.
Mm-hmm.
So we've asked him to come in earlier. He's going to take some time to look at some of the transitional stuff to make sure everything transitioned well, even though it's been several months.
Yeah.
One of his tasks is going to be to look at all the reserve capital, all those accounts that should have been funded over the years, make sure that the journal entries were done appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to go back a few years to make sure that those are all accurate. We don't believe that, we know there's some posting entries that need to be changed and reversed.
Yeah.
So in November, he's going to come in and spend some time with the treasurer and go over a lot of that stuff. So that would be the time that she would make that recommendation to him, and once he says, okay, this is what needs to be done, it would be done.
So when there's posting errors, we're going to have an auditor okay them from now on? It's been posting errors for 20 years, so I'm just asking.
I mean, mistakes happen all the time, there are posting errors. I believe the last treasurer, if she found a posting error and it was brought to her attention, and if she believed it was warranted, she would make the change on her own.
Correct.
The current treasurer wants something more than, with all due respect, you coming in and saying it's a mistake.
Well, I didn't say that. I brought documentation.
She just wants to know where to take her direction from a little bit.
Okay.
I don't think she has a problem if she got together with us and said, hey, and she's open, and she's more, she's new with us. The previous treasurer had years under her belt and knew kind of the powers and rights that she had as an elected treasurer, and moved through the process as she felt was the best way to do it.
Yep.
Julie's a little more cautious, and she just wants to know where to take her direction from.
Okay.
So,
all right. I'll prepare.
I think we can just have things signed maybe by, if there's, and we've had others.
If she's looked at it and she believes the entry needs to be reversed, then she can simply
She
talk to
just
Gil.
wants authority.
She can just have, Gil can say, as the chair, you're okay to do that, right? Not that he's giving the authority as one person, he's just going to let her know that as the elected treasurer, she has the authority to do it. So she just wants that affirmation a little bit.
That's fine, okay. There was a document given to you signed by 47 people living in the area of Quarry Road and Emery Corner Road regarding the four-way stop signs. And there was a suggestion made on how to fund the signs. So if there isn't any money in the road commissioner's budget, what are your plans for the residual amount of ARPA funds? Because you must be planning, because by December 31st, you have to commit the funds, I believe, that we received. They have to be committed, not spent, just committed. So do you have a plan for that $80,000 or so? I don't know exactly what it is, but it's around 80. Do you have plans for that? Is that in,
I don't know that we have any plan in place as of yet for that,
okay?
but I will double check on the deadline for it, and we'll make sure that
I think it's 12/31.
that we will not lose it by letting it go by the wayside.
Yeah, okay. So there's 45 signatures on this request, and know that there's at least two people in every house, and I know in some of those houses is multiple children, so up to 8 living in some of those houses, and people that signed that. So it's not just one person asking.
No, I think we know the level of the importance of it, and clearly we're working on it, and if for some reason the road commissioner doesn't have it,
Yeah,
we will look elsewhere to see where we can find it. The problem with the ARPA funds is you need the whole town to vote on it, to spend it.
the opera funds
The ARPA funds have to be voted on.
voted on, well, maybe we can have a special town meeting before the end of the year.
If we need it for that, but, I mean, assuming it,
Assuming you can't do it.
it's $6,000, I hope that we can find that some, if raw materials, yeah, we can vote to spend some of Stan's fees, because that's in the environment, says that we have the right to spend fees.
Okay.
So Stan's fees are up more than normal. We could take it out of Stan's, we'll find, I don't think we're going to struggle to find
Okay,
$4,500 or $6,000 to get this done.
okay, thank you.
Scott put 6,000 towards the grinding, so if we get our FEMA money, then he's got it.
Yeah.
The numbers are dancing, okay. Just as a reminder to the board, Deep Vale will take any ARPA funds that you have left over, just saying. We're always ready and willing to take that under our umbrella,
And there are
and we'll see that it gets spent, okay? All right?
several
Just saying.
people like yourself, but there's been lots of requests to
It's worth a try.
try to use
Oh, I
that.
get a pitch, Okay. There was one other thing that we talked about at that workshop, was the chimney on the Moore building, and that it needed some sealing because it was leaking inside. Do you recall that conversation? It was in the same conversation as the tree.
The chimney I do remember talking about,
Okay, all right, we're gaining.
and
Artie Pellegrino has looked at that for us and
Yep.
is doing me a quote 2 ways.
Terrific.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
So I do remember that. I just don't remember about the trees.
You're all set? I look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor?